ready. Hello, Santa Fe, Ogopogie, Jean Cocteau Cinema patrons. Happy Pride. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Father's Day. My son made me this hat yesterday. It's like literally my favorite thing. I'm gonna take it off right after this. But yeah. And happy monsoon season. Yeah, June is the best, right? In Santa Fe. So good to see you all here in your 3 dimensions. People, they see me on the street and they go, "Hey, I see you on the cellular device," and I say, "I'm real. Look, I got X, Y, and Z accesses." I think that's the plural.
Nope.
Access I?
Axes.
Axes, okay. Let's see. Yeah. It's not the first time, or the last time that's gonna happen. But I've got width, height, and depth, and we are going to go in depth tonight. But before we do that, my name is Warren Langford. I am a member of New Mexico's only worker-owned civic media co-op, 505-O-Matic. If you are unfamiliar with us, we are a movement journalism operation, and it's kind of like mutual aid, but for information deserts. We make newsy little videos, mostly for the gram and TikTok, but can't forget about little Reddit. We also have a newsletter/blog, and if you pull out your phones right now, you can give that QR code a scan and subscribe for just $5 a month. I don't see very many of you pulling out your phones.
I'm already subscribed.
Well, also, this is an opportunity to turn off your phone, silence your phone, yada, yada, yada. Okay, and since I do, and it's already happened, have a tendency to trip over my words up here, I thought, real quick, I would just blast through a list of words that I frequently mispronounce, just to get it out of my system. Okay, you guys ready? All right, let's see if I make it. Fruition, legislators, inconsequential, particularly. Did I do it? Yeah. Pretty sure I actually butchered particularly in one of our little videos, which was ironic because it was a video about how Siri and Apple Maps mispronounced the word cereals. Cerealos was the way it was doing it back then. We were actually able to fix that. So if you're looking for an example of how little shops like ours have a net benefit for our community, well, there you go. And every time you're driving down, you hear Siri pronounce cereals correctly, just imagine this wonderful group of humans all whispering in unison, "You're welcome." That's us at the Albuquerque Press Club last month. We did a wonderful little journalism summit, talked to a bunch of other New Mexico journalists, and it was super fun. So, here's something cool. Tonight's living room is the first of many to be brought to you by Century Bank. Century Bank has been a part of this community for something like 140 years. And we connected with them through the theater because we realized they believe what we believe, and that is that when people gather like this and share ideas and have fun trying to think bigger, big positive things can happen. They're invested in the health and well-being of this community, and in the most literal sense. And tonight is just one of the ways they're showing their commitment. So thank you, Century. We're extremely grateful for the partnership. Also, of course, we want to thank our lovely host, the Jean Cocteau Cinema. Since I was a kid, this was one of my favorite places on earth. And every time we do one of these shows, I have to pinch myself that it's actually happening here. Truly, if there was ever a living room for this community, it would be this room. So thank you, JCC. Yeah! This show is also a collab with My CC. Micey, I think just Micey. But the person who is representing that is yet to show up. I've heard he is making some food for all of us. So hopefully that shows up. And but yeah, his name is Hodge, and he's great, and he is working just too hard. And also, we want to welcome with open arms anyone who, in-towners, out-of-towners who may be participating in the Social Venture Network gathering. If you're here, we're so glad. Please stick around because there is an after party after the show, brought to you by our friends Pollinators, which includes an animation showcase right here in the theater and DJ. So yeah, we can party until we can no longer party or JCC kicks us out. Okay, now time for the main event. This is Living Futures, the future of food systems in New Mexico. I hope everyone got a snack beforehand because we're going to be talking about some food. And some food inequity, which might make you sick to your stomach. So right now, I'd like to welcome our guests to the stage and welcome myself to sitting down. So if you please, come on up and pick a seat. I'll sit right here. No one take my seat. That's my seat. Let me make sure all your mics are working, and then you guys. So we have 3. There's 4 of you. So we're gonna have to do some sharing. Sharing is caring. Oh, check out our new beer koozies, or any drink koozies, really. I gotta show you guys something really quick.
Wow. What?
So you know slap bracelets?
Yep.
It works better if your drink is full. There you go. Yeah, and it's the Blue Sky can tribute that we've developed, and yeah, very, very happy with this product. All right. Anyway, hi.
Available for purchase.
Oh, it's available for purchase. All of our merch is available for purchase. We don't have like a little merch booth this time, but if you see something you like and you want it, just approach one of us after the show. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys, thank you all for being here, introduce yourselves one by one. Why don't we start with you, Shark? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here.
Yeah.
Oop,
This thing on?
Switch.
I'll do this. La la la. Yeah.
Check. There we go.
There you go.
All right. So my name is Ren Sharkey. I go by Shark. I am here because I do outreach and fundraising for a group in town called Burrito Brigade, which is a local mutual aid group. Thank you all. We provide food, clothing, medical supplies, whatever kinds of things we can get our hands on as a community to support unhoused and immigrant neighbors primarily, but also just anyone who comes. Mutual aid is for everyone. That's kind of the short summary.
Thank you.
My name is Alma Castro. I am here because of my connection with restaurants and service industry, but I am also a lowly elected official, so we might be talking a little bit about some city policies as well.
Don't say lowly. You are not lowly. You're anything but lowly. And you, sir,
being here.
Charlie.
Happy Father's Day, Warren.
Thank you. Same to you and anyone else.
Anyone else out there? Yeah. I'm Charlie Shultz. I am Academic Director of Controlled Environment Agriculture at Santa Fe Community College. We are tasked with training the workforce of the future. Agriculture is moving in a new paradigm from traditional ways. We have to use our resources efficiently. So our students are learning how to do that in communities, so for community resiliency. We focus around food, energy, and water as we're training our students. And I think tonight I'm going to speak on behalf of producers. I don't think there's a lot of people up here producing food, but none of this can happen without food being produced in our community.
There's food. If you look around, you've got food producing in this room. That's those are live little lettuces and stuff. So yeah, very excited to get into that.
Hello. I'm Andrea Abedi. I call myself the OG founder of the Kitchen Table Santa Fe, which is a commercial kitchen here in town. And, we help people get their businesses going. There's a few of them here tonight. So thank you for having me.
You also used to do an event right in here.
Yeah, I used to do dinner and a movie here. I'd pick a food movie, recreate the food from the movie, and then it was like a buffet. It was pretty cool. I did it for a long time. So, yeah, I love this theater.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
great. Did you have a favorite of those events? What did you cook and what was the film?
Beetlejuice. There was no food in the movie, but we recreated the shrimp and like the dry ice, and also Christmas Vacation. That was fun. Remember when the grandma made the jelly and she put the cat food in there on accident? So I made panna cotta with like Fruity Pebbles. So yeah.
The pebbles were the cat food.
It was the cat food. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Okay, well, I've spoken with all of you, and food inequity is a real issue for New Mexico. I think, the stat that really sticks out to me is that like 1 in 4 kids in our state are going hungry right now. I am wondering how you guys think about how we are addressing this. Are we on a path to addressing this better? And who among you thinks that we should do things better at whatever level?
Government can do better.
Yeah.
I think
How?
Speaking to food insecurity, in particular around our youth, Food Depot, one of the organizations that we have featured here with 505-O-Matic, and we also fund through the city, actually started, that building was city land that was donated, and then that building was put on our capital improvements list, and so got state funding to be built. The land that we own collectively and where we put our resources in terms of the money that we're spending on capital, we can do better. As government, with your tax dollars, I think we need to really be showing community what our values are, and that's clothing people, housing people, and giving them food.
Yeah, and I was hoping to kind of get to some of these action items, what people can actually do towards the end of it. And so we'll maybe come back to that. But I'm just wondering, personally, do any of you have an anecdote of dealing with, someone who may have been experiencing food inequity, going hungry at any level that maybe has activated you into the work you're doing?
At the community college, definitely we've seen that. Food distribution is an issue. So from a producer, how does that food get to the end user? Often in Santa Fe, producers are trying to sell it into restaurants, which are serving tourists. But you were bringing up our insecure youth. And so there are programs on the state level, like the New Mexico Grown program, that if a producer follows safety guidelines and adheres to their standards, they are the outlet for the produce. And that produce goes to schools and senior citizen centers. So we've spawned a farm here in town, an indoor vertical aquaponic farm. Most people don't know about it. They produce 5,000 units every week. It all goes to schools and senior citizen centers. So New Mexico is very unique, and I'm very proud of New Mexico for that.
Right. And let's get a little bit into what aquaponics actually is. Can you just talk about the system?
Yeah, our program is controlled environment agriculture. What that allows for is year-round food production, whether it's in a greenhouse or you move completely indoors. So we're addressing our climate challenges here. If you try to go year-round for 6 months of the year, it's really challenging here. So moving indoors is crucial, but also using our resources efficiently, like water and nutrients like fertilizers. So aquaponics and hydroponic systems are closed-loop systems primarily, and we're recycling the water over and over. Both systems use water, hydroponics and aquaponics. In hydroponic systems, we mine or manufacture fertilizers. In aquaponic systems, we feed fish. So the aquaculture is fish farming, and the hydroponics joined together as aquaponics. So we load these systems initially with our water, and then we recycle over and over. And I think most people understand the fish provide the nutrients, the plants clean the water, allowing us to recycle that over and over. So I pioneered this with other gurus of aquaponics over 30 years. In the Caribbean, this took off. We had no water. And 10 years ago, I moved to Santa Fe because the community demanded controlled environment agriculture, greenhouse, food production, and water conservative methods like aquaponics. So we stand out in the nation, and we really stand out internationally, this small community college here in Santa Fe.
Amazing. So, just coming to this from like, the lay person, like, what kind of fish are we talking about here?
Sure. So I'm a fish farmer. I doubt anybody here is a fish farmer. Do we have? Oh, I thought you were raising your hands. Americans don't even eat a lot of fish. But seafood or animal protein, if we're looking at sustainable use of our resources, it's aquaculture. I can grow a tilapia with about a pound of feed. That tilapia will convert it to almost a pound of flesh. So when we look at resource use efficiency, this is why we do what we do. And now I can take that 1-to-1 feed conversion ratio of feed to flesh, and now I can use the waste of that animal and grow another 5 pounds of vegetables off that 1 pound of resource that we started with.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Interesting. So, and what are you actually growing? Like we see.
Oh, in the fish, yeah.
The lettuce.
So when we're spawning businesses, so I have somebody here in the audience that's trying to spawn a business. We spawned another business. It's farming at the end of the day, so we have to look at the economics of the commodities.
Yeah.
So people buy tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers and eggplants and lettuce and culinary herbs. So if I look at all those crops across the spectrum, they like about 70-degree water to optimally grow for a business to succeed. So now I have to pick a fish that grows in 70-degree water. So I'm not going to grow a rainbow trout, which grows in 50-degree water. So I'm picking a fish. If it's edible, I'm going to pick a tilapia primarily, or a catfish. If I don't want to harvest and sacrifice an animal, I'll use a koi or a goldfish for the same purpose.
Yeah. And you can grow tomatoes, you said. You can grow, is there anything you can't grow?
No, we like to teach our students we can grow anything, but can you make money at it? You make money not growing fish and plants, you make money selling them.
Yeah.
So really we, at the community college, we have the business and professional studies program. So entrepreneurs are being launched out of our program. And the social venture network that we're all part of this week, or many of us, that's a really good outlet that are looking at funding producers that are using resources efficiently, not just the economic bottom line, but that people, planet, and profit.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what are the main obstacles that you're facing to make this really catch on? Not just nationwide, but like here.
Well, I like to say I was 35 years ahead of my time.
Yeah.
I think my students are still years ahead of their time. Many of us in this room are concerned about resource use efficiency and water conservation, but I think the community as a whole, we need to change culture. The conversation we hear mostly in Santa Fe is, why don't we have another Costco in town? At the same time, we have local producers that have food available. We have one of the top farmers markets here in the U.S., right here in Santa Fe. My indoor producer has an online platform where anybody here could buy food any day from that producer. So we need to support those kind of producers more than the big box stores.
Yeah.
That's a huge challenge.
Go ahead.
And Warren, I'll add that we also need to be able to, and this is boring and I will not talk about zoning for a long time, but we need to change our zoning laws and we
Sure.
need to allow for some of the uses of farming, industrial farming, to be allowed.
Could we have a? Yeah, go ahead. Could we have like some sort of in between? Could you convince Costco to start having your aquaponic systems in the stores?
Right, we vote with our purchase, right? A lot of people like Smith's here in town, great quality produce, they won't buy from a local producer.
Why?
It's just their business model. Whole Foods will. So you go there and you see it's from El Calde, from New Mexico, it's organic.
Sure.
So we can support, wisely that way too.
Yeah, I mean, like, showing these, Kroger, which owns Smith's, like, hey, don't you want to be like Whole Foods over here?
Or incentivizing small local grocery stores that aren't part of this network.
And this is what's happening. The city and the county are so supportive of urban farming right now. We looked at Smith's. What are we going to do with this abandoned building?
Right.
Could we turn it into an indoor farm? So there's lots of options on the table right now.
Yeah, it's a race between you and the roller skaters.
I think I know who's going to win.
I mean, they're on wheels, so.
And you know, I've met Shark here at this
Yeah.
event. He'll tell more about what he's doing, but that's a perfect opportunity for a community college to help an up-and-coming business. I don't sell the food because I don't want to compete with the farmer, but I contribute to different organizations.
Right. Okay. So yeah. Are you putting some of these aquaponic things in your burritos?
Not at the moment, but more than happy to.
Let's make that happen.
Yeah, 100%. I would love to.
I will. I love a fish. Moriscos? You kidding me? Wait, you have something to say about moriscos.
We'll talk about that.
Now I'm scared of moriscos. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about more of what you're doing over there, Shark. Can you tell me how the Burrito Brigade became a thing?
Yeah, so I think it was like 16, 18 months ago, right, post-election. A group of us, we kind of got together. Some of us were friends. Some of us had never met before. And we gathered around a table. And the idea was, what do we do? Like, it's not that Donald Trump created these problems. It was just a catalyst. I feel like people have been resting for a little while. And people kind of kicked into gear in that moment and all came together. And we started cooking burritos. We were just like, what's an unambiguous good we can do? Well, we can hand out food to people. That is just like a good thing in the world. Mm-hmm. And so we started doing that. It was 12 of us. We were cooking out of my kitchen. It was a disaster. It took hours. But it was like a really fulfilling thing. And just kind of organically over the course of the next year, really, we were in the weird position for an anarchist mutual aid group where we got more volunteers and more money from the community than we expected, which thank you all, really value it. And so we got bigger and bigger, and we started adding days, and we started adding supplies, and we started doing kind of all this stuff. So it was just sort of this impulse to fill in some of the cracks that are happening as the world breaks apart around us. And then it was something people were really interested in doing.
And how are you raising money?
So everyone pitches in a little. I think that, not to kind of get too on my lefty bullshit here, but I have one song, and I'm going to play it everywhere I go. I think there are solutions to this stuff where food is a commodity, but I think those can't be the only solutions. A commodity, something you have to pay money for, relies on the idea that there are people who can afford it and people who can't afford it. So all solutions that rely on monetary value for food are going to be incomplete solutions and are going to leave the people who most need the support out of the picture. Long way of answering your question. So our method is that the people who have the resources all pitch in a little, and then we buy all the food we distribute with those pitchings in. We're totally grassroots funded. We don't take, I mean, if someone wants to give us $1 million, please feel free, but we generally don't take large donations. But so yeah, it's just community members pitching in and all working together.
That's incredible. That reminds me of something you told me before the show, which is the phrase that we've all heard: food, should be a human right. But maybe an easier way for people thinking about it. Why don't you say it? I won't say it for you.
Well, yeah, I've had communities across America look at what we're doing at Santa Fe, and we've become a model. Other people want to do this as we focus on food, energy, and water. Flagstaff, in particular, would like to do something similar, and they brought up the idea of food as a utility. We have utilities that come to our house, like electric. We have water. Why don't we have food as a right, as a utility? And I think that's something that we could run on. I haven't seen much traction on that yet, but I agree it's a different way to say the same thing that we're talking about.
Yeah, except for you're removing money all the way.
Right.
But it's still the same. It's a right. Like it's like, you can't like a landlord can't just, shut off your power. Or they have to provide that for you as a thing. Like, I would love if, I had a landlord who gave me burritos.
Yeah, I mean,
they
sounds
just
like
talk
a great
in my
plan.
fridge.
Let's make it happen.
The other thing is I see communities talking about a community greenhouse, a community food production, and we'll get everyone who's in the co-op or interested in this program to work 3 hours a week. They're going to grow the food or do the maintenance. Nobody wants to work 3 hours a week in a greenhouse. It's very few people. So I've seen that model fail often. When you expect your community to do the work, a lot of people are busy. They're doing other things, and so you can't make that assumption.
and I do want to give some space to the kitchen table, but right across the street from this wonderful resource is an empty lot owned by the city of Santa Fe, 1300 Agua Fria, which could very easily produce food for people in this city.
And we're looking at creative options. So Grace from Pollinators and Haj from Micey.
Yeah.
We're looking at how we can work together as a community to make this a community space that's really integrated with what Santa Fe is popular about, arts and foods, and a new center that's not downtown Santa Fe. A lot of us can't get downtown. We don't come down here a lot. So a little bit further out, I think, would be a success.
And just kind of, I think, so my background is kind of mutual aid organizing, anarchist mutual aid organizing, and I think one of the things you often hear is that, like, it's hard to get people involved in doing stuff like that. And I think that's true to some extent, but I think it's also because we don't do a good job as organizers, as legislators, as educators of making these issues seem salient to people. Like, food security is something that would change the entirety of our city. I'm also a therapist. Most of the kids who are coming in to get services at the clinic I work at are food insecure. Food insecurity is upstream of mental health, is upstream of poor school performance, is upstream of economic development problems, is upstream of all of these things. And we kind of pretend that these are like isolated issues, and that makes it hard for people to get on board. But I think if we, as the people who are involved at the operations level, do a better job of making these issues actually matter to people and showing people why they matter, some of those problems get better. But we treat them as isolated issues, which I think really exacerbates that problem.
And on top of that, it's a cultural change, right? I can make somebody learn how to grow a tomato, but what do they do with a tomato? It's that bad, right? Yeah. Where, right?
They cook it.
Thank you.
They cook
Thank
it.
you. But they don't know how to do that, right?
But you're
Not
trying
everybody.
to change that, right, Andrea?
Yeah, I mean, the kitchen table is such a big resource. It has just, I mean, it started out with me selfishly wanting a kitchen to cook in because I was so busy and there's nowhere to go in Santa Fe. Honestly, the convention center is not up to standard. And, you know, I just couldn't do it. And Albuquerque's too far. I can't be bothered. But like many other people, time is important. And so it has become such an important resource for people who want food businesses and don't know how to do it. We've turned into an incubator, which also I didn't plan to do. But a lot of people just give up because it's so complicated and hard and expensive. So I'm trying to, like, you know, help them along the way. But I mean, we have very successful businesses who work out. Last Call Kombucha just won, you know, a business achievement award. Yeah, small business. And Brochachos, they have the most amazing hot dog cart at, what is the? In front of Candyman. Yeah, I mean, but they're locally, they serve all the locals, right? Because it's affordable and it's delicious. And there's a lot of people here who want to start their own business and don't know how. So I try and take out that barrier, provide them with a commercial kitchen that's #1 clean. There's a standard there because, you know, we all want to be happy in the place that we work and you're going to eat the food. And I've always had chefs tell me, like, if you're not going to eat, if you wouldn't serve it to your mother, don't serve it. So I'm also a trained chef. So I kind of went into this knowing how kitchens run. And I started by cutting construction paper at a cabin in Colorado. And I was like, let's build a commercial kitchen. And it just has grown so much. We have 37 members right now with about 8 more people coming in. And every day, they're like, can you help me? I can't do this by myself. And I'm happy to do so. So it's really...
Is there a particular... I think that's one of my words.
Particularly.
Yeah, and I think Shark said legislators. Sorry. The anyway. So, is there like a business in town that started as a member and that is now like someone we would know?
A few. Santa Fe Popcorn is now about to move into their brick and mortar downtown, which is amazing. Santa Fe Bizcochito Company. He didn't necessarily start in our kitchen. He had always kind of done his thing, but he made his product there. Now he has his own cafe. Yeah, everyone's working together. Apocalypse Hot Sauce, he's in 20 stores across New Mexico. He literally started in the kitchen.
And more restaurants now. I'm noticing
Yeah.
him on the table
Yeah.
there, especially the drop zone.
Drop
It's
zone,
getting
it's
really
so
popular.
delicious.
It's like a mustard.
Yeah, I mean everyone's
spicy.
collaborating in the kitchen. The hot sauces on the food cart and the popcorns in the cafe, and everyone is working together. They help each other with events. I didn't ever plan that. That was just a very special side effect.
Now, I'm super curious because, we're talking about the entire, people say farm to table system here. The kitchen table, have you guys noticed an increase in demand for your services since the start of the war on Iran? Is there any change that has happened there?
Yeah, I think, I'm Persian, so my dad's from Iran. My family lives in Tehran. It's wild, not real. But at the same time, everything is so expensive, and everyone feels it. Your lettuce is not hydroponic, but, it's $5 a head. And, they absorb these costs. They have to pay rent, and it all just adds up. So I started out with this model of this is the hours, these are how much, the hours are. But now I realize that, everyone's at a different level. And now I'm kind of what can you afford? And that's how I try and work it now. Because, to take on another commitment on top of now you have to pay a crazy rent in Santa Fe. Mm-hmm. Your bills are out of control. Not only when you have student loans. I mean, it's just it doesn't end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes it really difficult.
And now gas,
Yeah.
Well, and I want to honor you for doing the work and staying in our community. We were discussing the neighborhood. I live on the Agua Fria corridor, very close to the kitchen table. My parents, happy Father's Day, Dad, are in the audience, who had a business on the Cerrillos Road corridor by Sila Rufina. At this point, my goodness, they started at El Comal. Am I really almost 40 years old? This is wild, 38 years ago. And now the ability to have alternative business models, and for folks who never thought that they would be able to own a business, have these brick and mortar spaces, make these big decisions, and be able to make a living. Yes, we feed tourists in these restaurants. It would be nice if some of us, in the interim, before we get to a moneyless, classless society, can make a little profit off of them, right?
It's true. I grew up on Baca Street. My mom lives in the same house she was born in. I found my eighth great grandfather in Galisteo. I never in a million years thought that I would come back to Santa Fe and have a business, because honestly I couldn't get out of here fast enough when I was a teenager. But it's changed so much. It's different. We get older, we want to be close to our family and, help. I want to help.
The boomerang thing in Santa Fe is very real. Yeah. Happened to me. Yeah. I know what happened to you. All of us. Yeah, that's incredible that you're able to, incubate and be this, this place where people can kind of figure out their workflows, what they're doing. But Alma, you brought up alternative business models. Are you seeing any of your members exploring that? Well, first we should get into what is the alternative business model that you helped usher in for a little restaurant that bears your name.
Actually, their name.
Their names.
To be
all.
fair. Yeah, I, like many of us, couldn't get out of here fast enough. Thought that the big bad world was going to be where we were going to find our ultimate success, and ended up in Ohio, in the Midwest, and I learned a lot about co-ops and what it means to be in a collective business model. And then I also looked inward and realized that as the daughter of a Central American immigrant, we had a long history with co-ops and collective ownership, and the way that many low-income communities do, pull our resources and do what we can with them. So I said, we can do that. There was not, I will back up a little bit, there is not a succession model for many business owners, right? They work and they work and they work, and they plan to work until they can't anymore. And for those of us who were lucky enough to be their children and had opportunities to get higher education and go into government or whatever, we're not going to take over those businesses. Mm-hmm. And so what is the ethical and the real potential of offering the people who are working those businesses for 30 years and know that model inside and out, the ability to not sell their labor and be the people who feed themselves,
Right,
right?
right, right. It does seem kind of like, well, that's unfair. It just goes to the kid. And, I've been working my ass off here for 40 years. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I also think like it's probably understood that you were supposed to take it over, right? I mean, not you specifically, but I'm saying like, I have El Chile Toreadado, right? Everyone knows she's badass. Her dad started it, but he did it. It's hard to kind of stop when you've been doing it and running it. How do you stop? You don't know how, because then you're like, I'm not in control anymore.
Well, and to your point, you're building skills throughout the trajectory, right? 30 years in this case, that you never thought you would be able to do. And you do care for the people. In the case of Castro's, the restaurant we're talking about, many of the folks who are currently, it is a multi-member LLC, 12 owners. Everybody has the same amount of ownership, and it's super exciting. You have to work full-time to be an owner in that business, which is why I am not one of them, not associated any longer. But many of them are my relatives and folks that we really care about and obviously want to have good working conditions and an income that can sustain them and their families.
Yeah, and I'm just curious. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, like, did you sacrifice ownership for this model to come in?
I think most folks in the room know I'm a socialist, so sacrificing ownership is a strange concept for me.
Yeah.
I was able to gift this business to the people who
You
really
gifted.
are working it.
Right, right. That's amazing. And was it a hard sell?
Mostly to my parents.
Ah.
Although I will say that for folks who had been there for many, many years, my aunts, helped us for 25, 30 years. The idea of taking on the responsibility of owning a business and having to pay rent in that brick and mortar location, at the time next to a very difficult neighbor, was not
Cheeks?
an easy sell. Oh, yes.
We're talking about cheeks.
We're talking about cheeks, of course. It is not a
I was like, the
secret.
Mazda?
Yeah,
Or
that
the GMC dealership.
that Agape House and Pete's
yeah.
Place was
Yeah.
a little bit of a challenge
Yeah.
for the businesses in the area. Heightened security needs and seeing folks that we went to high school with being in need of services that they weren't receiving was also just another level of difficulty for me in particular in that space.
Yeah, mentally, very, very draining, I imagine. The but it has been a success story, you would say at this point, right?
They're still open. It's been over a year, and they're functioning with 12 owners.
What do you think? What do you think some of the biggest hiccups have been in that year, if you're privy to any of it?
So in the last year, probably not, but I will talk about what the successes were to sort of establish the model. And it was building a team of a corporate lawyer, an immigration attorney, and an accountant, because nobody really knows how to do a multi-member LLC. How do you create accounts for everyone? Where do you put taxes? And, I've been talking about this sort of quietly, but I think I'm ready to sort of expose the model. I don't believe that the U.S. government is going to make it illegal for folks to own a business anytime soon, right? It is potentially more dangerous to be working without authorization than it is to just invest in a capitalist model.
So this is almost like a protection for those workers.
Small
Or
businesses
owners
are
now.
people who are maybe not in the purview and are not targets currently.
Wow, that's interesting. You had also, Andrea, you'd also mentioned to me how you are now providing some new services along these lines as well.
Yeah, I cooked illegally out of my house for 10 years because, what am I going to do? I didn't know how or where or anything, and I didn't have anyone helping me. So, I was getting gigs and I was doing it. But I think right now what I've taken on is that the licensing and permitting, kind of like what you were saying, it's so much more important for them to have their documents and serve food that comes from a commercial kitchen, because then they can expand their business and do these things, because you really limit yourself when you're cooking on the DL or cooking from home. And plus, if you get someone sick, you're in a lot of trouble. And so now I've become an incubator where I help them get their business license, their food permit, their food manager certification, their insurance, as well as, show them how to book time in a kitchen and work cleanly. So.
But the reason we need that is because these are very difficult things to
Yes.
navigate.
Oh, well, I don't think anyone would know how to do it. honestly, because there's no communication from departments. And I have it all figured out, actually, on some level. And I've also made nice relationships with people in the permitting office, in the licensing department. The mayor's very receptive to that. I told him there's cogs in the system, and you're really making it difficult for people to get started. And he's talking within his departments, and it has actually helped. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think overall we're talking about like, hey, we need to change our mindsets here. We're talking about different ways of, rewiring our neural pathways as a community, particularly, but maybe it could expand out to be societal. Santa Fe. This is a point that I like. Someone from Chainbreaker brought it up when they were up here with this. We were the first in the nation to like really push that like minimum wage up to
Living wage.
What?
Living wage?
The minimum wage, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know if it's quite a living wage.
Yeah. No, we're not there yet. But we did that back in, what was it, the early 2000s? Yeah, and that had a ripple effect around the country. So the idea that we can start something, here and be a like shining example is great. And so I do want to talk, like we're talking about co-ops and memberships and anarchist systems. Like, how do we sell these things? Like, how do we market this? Like, what is the best way to like really like get people to wrap their heads around this and get on board?
I mean, in a nutshell, making things that work. I think so often people are like a firm believer in the systems we have, or at least a believer enough that they don't take a step outside of the systems we have. And it's not that hard or difficult or crazy to do something else, something like what everyone here does. And doing that well, having it work and having it be publicized, like the minimum wage, provides a test case for other people, and methodology spreads and organizing tactics spread. And trying to encourage that spread to the greatest degree possible, I think, is really the move, in my opinion.
Yeah, just showing, by leading by example.
I've had students, one particular that's here tonight, that use the community college as a test bed. So he spent about 3 years doing marketing for his potential business in produce, and he made a network of over 300 people in our community, and he delivered food for free. What he wanted was feedback. I've never seen people comment on the taste of lettuce and how amazing it is. So the testimony we got from this fresh food delivery. So he was looking at a new delivery model where he had about, I think, 20 households a day. And then the next day with 20 households, the next day was 20 households. And it was home delivery of produce. Lettuce, et cetera, is the model. It wasn't just the lettuce, it was the et cetera. So if they wanted eggs and meats and yogurts from other local producers, they would all be delivered, again, once a week through an electric vehicle. So really trying to make that model that could spawn to other communities.
Now, I just want to ask, because I'm sure some people are thinking, back to the aquaponics system, do you think the food tastes better when it comes from the fish waste and the recycled water, or is it on par?
I would say it's fairly average. I do a lot at the college of blind taste test.
Ooh.
Because I want to see what people really think.
Yeah.
You've got aquaponics, which is the nutrients generated from fish, and hydroponics is more synthetic nutrients. And I would even go to the farmer's market and get an organic soil-based fruit or vegetable. And we'd walk around campus, and almost always it was even across the board. So I feel, to me, it's the local. We want the highest nutrient density as possible. So it's local food production that's what's going to get us there. And I think that's the future of agriculture, is producing more nutrient-dense food. And also having the ability as a consumer to know what you're buying. There's some advanced technology through AI where we can start scanning an apple in the market and understand the bricks, which is the sugar content, which is an indicator of nutrient quality. So if I could walk around the farmer's market with a tool like that, I think that's part of the future of food.
Very Michael Pollan of you. Yeah, nutrient dense.
nutrient
Are you
dense.
seeing a push for that with your members too? Like, oh, we want to make some nutrient dense food over
I
here.
mean,
Is it more?
Yeah, I mean, they care about what, they care about their products.
Yeah.
So, we work with also Squash Blossom CSA, Nina Lagagard, and she's very amazing in this community. She was our first anchor tenant. She works at 40 farms in northern New Mexico, and she serves as like a general store that if you want to get something from her, but also if you have a value-added product, you can collab and get in her Squash Blossom bags. Yeah.
Nutrient density is something we can optimize in controlled environments through the nutrient delivery. But even these days, we have what we call a light recipe. So with the light spectrums and the ability to change your LED lights, we can increase the nutrient quality of food. We can have a light recipe that brings on more lycopenes in your tomatoes. So I think a lot of this is the future that we're going to be seeing.
Yeah. So is that one of the things you're most excited about? What about mushrooms? I've been really on a mushroom kick lately. We're probably going to have a whole one of these about mushrooms.
Yeah, a lot of us, I think, have drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Or ate the mushroom.
The mushroom.
The mushroom is amazing, right, for all it can do, from remediation to fiber to fund, healing. I like to look these days, Santa Fe Community College specializes in algae cultivation. And I think algae has as much potential as mycology on our planet, and it's very little studied. Most people that I talk to see algae as a noxious problem on our planet.
Yeah,
and
just
we
look at the
algae.
reflecting pool.
Yeah, right? I see that as missed opportunity.
Yeah,
right?
I know. We should be getting in there and munching
spirulina, or something.
I'll solve the problem.
We have a spirulina. We have a spirulina farm on campus I don't think many people know about, and that's a product that's 65% protein. It's not animal protein. That's the future, in my opinion. We're going to be looking at how we can use our resources wisely. I'm sorry, a lot of us won't be eating steak in the future. Our kids or our grandchildren won't. We're going to be looking at these very nutrient-dense foods.
I can't wait to go to the nutrient-dense ring downtown. Very inside Santa Fe joke. Sorry, guys. So those are some of the like future-looking things you're into. Are there any systems or any other food-related things that you guys are like, ooh, maybe we should be trying that? Is there anyone doing something in another city that you're like, that's really, really cool?
I found that I've been in Santa Fe 10 years, and we've created this wave of hydroponics, aquaponic businesses. Other cities that I've been in and had a career in, the same thing has happened. Okay. Food systems blossomed. Yeah. So I think we can do this.
Yeah.
Right?
And I also think indigenous communities here and throughout America have done incredibly good work for a very long time in sustainable agriculture, and looking towards those communities in the places where you are is a really great path forward as well. In town, we have Three Sisters Collective that does Full Circle Farms, and in general, some of the work that's done on the Pueblos is really wonderful.
Yeah.
And just to sort of go off of that, I think new and exciting is great, but we have amazing waterways, and water is really important to how we're going to grow our food. Support the Acequia Association, support learning how to really maintain some of these traditional waterways. We've done this for generations. We know what we're doing. We know this climate very well. How do we leverage the new technology that we have with the older traditional ways that we've always lived here?
Yeah, it's all part of the equation.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big part of that I don't think we really grapple with as a society, which is this is going to get harder and worse every year. And that's something, I hate to be a downer, but it's something we don't want to accept. Like, every year, food is going to be harder. Every year, the cracks in society are going to get bigger. And the more we leverage things like past innovations and future innovations, the easier those terrible problems will be mitigated. Yeah. But having that awareness and feeling that urgency, I see, is like so central to caring about food at the moment.
Yeah, you said something about like having year-round food is essential.
That's why we do controlled environment agriculture. We used to be called the greenhouse management program at the community college, but we do so much more than greenhouses. We've done shipping containers, completely indoor farms. Again, it optimizes production. It's the only way we're going to have year-round food production. COVID really hit us, right? We realized a lot during COVID from our Pueblo communities that shut their gates and had no food supplies, so we had to deliver food to them. So we realized we need CEA. A lot of the Pueblos I deal with before COVID, the conversation was to greenhouse or not. Do we want to grow out of season? Break traditional cycles. Since COVID, it's been yes, we want greenhouses on our community.
Yeah. So well, we're also changing those traditional cycles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I feel like this might be a good moment to move into some Q&A. Is there anything else you guys wanted to say before we did that?
I could close with this, but I'm going to say it now because everybody's here. But we have somebody in the audience that started a weekly meetup for community that is interested in topics like this. We pick a different restaurant or a bowling alley or someplace. Every week on a Tuesday, we meet up. So if anybody wants to know more, pick up my card outside. I'm raffling off a hydroponic system and a SFCC hoodie. I'll put my cards there, but get in touch. I'll get you on the mailing list, and you can join us on Tuesday nights to keep these conversations going.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, we might as well do anything else you guys want to plug, anything you want to, how can people get involved with the kitchen table?
Yeah, so the kitchen table, go to our website, kitchentablesantafe.com. Sign up for our newsletter. We have a ton of events. Saturday, we have curanderas coming to do limpias, donation-based. And then they cleanse our building, which is amazing. And we'll have Tia Coco chocolate. We'll have some tarot readers. We also have 505 Night Market. We're collaborating with them. That's going to start July 8th. So the first July 18th, it will be at the kitchen table. We're going to have over 40 vendors from 5 to 9. And then we also have a cooking club with Chef Rocky that's starting. So basic knife skills, and it will continue. But there's lots of action going on. Support. Got to support everybody.
The curanderas, good. I mean, like.
Oh, I love it.
That sounds really, really cool. Shark.
Come cook with us on a Saturday night or on a Wednesday night, or come hand food out with us on a Sunday morning. You can find all our information at SF Burrito Brigade. Google us, and if you have it, give us money. We always take money.
Oh, wait.
Vote for Alma Castro.
Alma. Yes.
We haven't decided yet, sure.
We had talked before the show about Santa Fe Forward.
Yes.
So why don't we talk about it a little bit?
Yes, so please, we talked a little bit about zoning and the general plan and what we want to see in the future in the city of Santa Fe. We're currently going through a general plan update, which is going to inform how we build in the next 25 years. So please go to santafeforward.com, fill out one of the surveys. I think we have about 8,000 surveys already submitted. Wow. And I will just say, I opened with this, we can do better. The values reflected in the surveys are not what was reflected in this year's budget.
Wow. So wait. Why? Why aren't they listening to the survey?
Why aren't we listening to the survey? Because, and I think Charlie alluded to this, we vote with our dollars. We also vote with our vote. And so some of our folks who are sitting up at the dais with me maybe have some different ideas of what we should be spending our money on. I will just say that our police department did get a 13% increase this fiscal year.
Okay, well, on that, let's move into some questions and answers. If you guys wouldn't mind donating one of the microphones to this cause. But before we do that, whoa, oh my God, I just killed my computer with my electricity. Check this out. Surprise shirt giveaway. Okay. This is a little pop quiz. We're going to see who raises their hands first, and Austin's going to be looking out for this little game. Who remembers the 4 words that I said at the beginning of the show that I was having trouble pronouncing? Who remembers 3 of those words? Do you want to go for 3?
Particularly legislators and inconsequential. No, what was the first one? Was
You already won. So you get a T-shirt. You can pick one of these. Just meet up with us out of the show. Depending on availability. We're really running low on these ones right here, but we have a ton of the blue sky. All right, let's get into some questions and answers.
All right, I've got a question over here.
Hi, I'm Charlie Crystal. I'm with the Social Venture Network. Live in Pennsylvania, and you have 90,000 in Santa Fe, in the city, 150,000 in the county. So my question is this: most people shop at grocery stores and the big box stores. There's a lot of local production, and the grocery stores are part of the international and national and semi-regional, but very brittle, fragile food system. And I know you're working on addressing that, but there's a gap between what you're currently producing and what the city will need in case those lines are cut or impeded in some way, like they were during COVID. So, is there a plan to address that, and how much scale would you need to develop, and how fast could you do that?
So there is an emergency plan for reserves in a very short amount of time. If we were completely cut up from systems, probably we would need to reach out to our regional partners in the state for support. Right now, the Food Depot has lines that are longer than we've ever seen, even during COVID. We're about at the same levels. The Food Depot is our only food distribution in the city of Santa Fe. No questions asked. Low income. We see teachers, we see city employees in that line. The food insecurity right now is at a crisis level. So to say that we have a plan, we have a mitigation for an emergency situation, but there is no long-term strategy for food insecurity. That being said, we are at the governing body level trying to address these food deserts that we're talking about to facilitate more local grocery stores. We talk about it as walkable cities and 15-minute cities, but really it's about what resources are in our communities, and people like the kitchen table are going to be the ones that are able, and Charlie's students, right, to produce the food that is going to be in those small businesses.
And to their benefit, they brought the community college into the conversation focused around urban agriculture. They want to do more.
we export 90% of what we grow in the state?
Sorry, can we get that on mic?
We should stop.
And I think the idea of like an apocalyptic scenario is always a really engaging one, but also the apocalypse doesn't come for everybody at once. It starts in the people who are least enfranchised. And as Councilor Castro pointed to, that's happening now. We're there. And so acting like that's not a future event, but a one we are currently living through, I think puts a little more of a point on your question.
I also, everything I do is recruiting. So if you want to be part of the solution, you want to grow food, definitely spread the word. If it's not you, make sure anyone in Santa Fe of any age comes and finds me. Okay. We need more. That's part of the conversation, for sure. I haven't figured out how that works, as I mentioned earlier. How does a community greenhouse get subsidized? Who's going to do that long term?
Exactly. I think we have to show up, take the surveys. There's a summit on June 29th at the Genoveva Community Center about homelessness. I think food insecurity is part of the conversation around homelessness and housing security. It is all a continuum. As we said, it should be a utility, just like housing, just like public transit.
Given the multiple threads of this conversation, what feels like it's moving forward really rapidly and successfully? And what feels like maybe the greatest challenge or a bottleneck?
In my career, I've never seen a city and a county come to me and say, we're going to do this, and let's start planning. So that's happening right now really quickly. It didn't happen for 10 years. We've been a model, and so we haven't seen that happen. Now it's happening really quickly, We don't know what to do with some of the resources that we have. I have more paid internships right now. I have more scholarships available for students. It's all happening right now, quickly. Slowly, for me, it's that consumer mindset, that desire for Costco, and not supporting local farms that are already here.
And I think for some of us who are working within the systems that we currently have and are a little less aspirational, like, small businesses, allowing for a variety of models, a different idea of how, like, for me in particular, selling your labor and not having any agency is just something that I never want to see in the job market, not in the food industry, not anywhere. But I think that mindset of saying we're going to take charge of our own community and be responsible for it is really a huge mindset shift.
I've really appreciated this conversation. It's been very educational. I am struck by the need to retain moisture in the landscape, and I'm struck by how much moisture drains out into arroyos. So one of the things I've been doing, and I'd encourage us to do, is to, when we walk along the arroyos, is to look to see where there's a seep or there's a damp patch in the bank, and to acknowledge that that is almost certainly somewhere that moisture is draining out of the landscape. Now, my point is in this is that that is an opportunity to plant amaranth. And I think probably most of us here have a good background in amaranth, so I'm not going to speak about that. But what is it? Oh, amaranth is a plant worldwide, which is one of the most nutritious plants. It used to be a staple of indigenous communities for thousands of years. It was maybe 80% of the food source for indigenous communities in Southern America prior to the aftermath of the Inquisition. It got a very bad rap as a result of the Inquisition. The redness of amaranth, it has a purple-red leaf, became associated, well, basically, it was it was destroyed as part of the colonial process, and that followed through all the way into Santa Fe, and the debate about the statue is tied into the history of amaranth. And I would encourage us, where we've got those seeps, to take a little packet of amaranth, which is quite easy to spread and quite easy to plant, and just to sprinkle them there. And they can, then if we can show people who are unhoused how to eat them, harvest them, because the leaves are edible, the whole plant is edible. The seeds, are, were made into was made into corn, not corn. Anyway, it's enough from me. But I wonder if you've got anything on amaranth. Any comments?
Well, our local tribes are using amaranth. Tesuque Pueblo particularly does a lot with them, with amaranth, with that crop. They also invested a lot with a seed bank, so they have seed stock if anybody needs it. So I think some of our Pueblo communities already value the amaranth. And I like the idea of seed bombing and making this town a forest where we can walk and eat food.
Gosh, we got apricots out the wazoo though.
Another action step, if folks are interested in promoting something, is green infrastructure. So we have a lot of spaces that are misused or just concrete, and we're trying to work with our city planners, Zoe Isaacson in particular, to make sure we get a lot of that water back into the system and have green spaces, because ultimately we don't want concrete jungles that are hot and causing other problems.
Yeah, should all of our trees be like fruit-bearing trees?
But controlling water is a big issue that the city deals with, and slowing down water and keeping water instead of letting it run off, very crucial.
And not having food as a part of your city infrastructure is a choice. It's a choice largely made and influenced by Robert Moses, the city planner of New York, who's one of history's greatest monsters. And that was a choice that was made for American cities by essentially one guy or a collection of guys. And we can just change that choice for things like fruiting trees and other crops within the city.
Piñons are cool. We love them. Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, it's Desba.
Hi, City Councilor Alma Castro. Speaking of utilizing the street walkways, I recently met up with Reese Baker, who has his microclimates. If anyone doesn't know Reese, look up. Now I'm forgetting the name of his organization.
The rain catcher.
Raycatcher. Okay, so you all know. Yeah. So how can we get more of like what he's doing to be a part of like the city of Santa Fe so that this can go global?
So I would encourage, I think it was a month ago now, Zoe Isaacson and Reese gave a presentation to Quality of Life. It is on YouTube. Check it out. And with your help and learning about programs like Reese's, I was able to request from our city staff to work more closely with him and look at green infrastructure as part of our general plan. Again, we're in the middle of this general plan, support the new streets guide, which is going to be multimodal and make sure that we have greenscapes that are protected bike lanes, right? We're already doing it. Desba, thank you so much, and continue to push us and ask for these things so that the other folks sitting on the governing body feel a little bit of pressure as well.
Yeah, and that's all Santa Fe Forward, right?
SantaFeForward.com.
Go to SantaFeForward.com.
Okay, just on the topic of green stormwater infrastructure, I work with Reese Baker and help develop the green stormwater infrastructure manual for the county. So everyone in the county put a lot of work into making this like accessible and really like visually appealing and like approachable to the common person. And the city and county are working together on creating streamlined processes to legalize curb cuts and make that really easy. And so we're working on putting out, like streamlining code and putting out new pathways for people to do that, and then also follow models where communities and neighborhoods can work together. So if you yourself don't have the $500 to pay for a curb cutting permit, you and all of your neighbors can get together and cut your curbs and split the time of the city person coming out. And you can work together to create resiliency in your neighborhoods and grow food in your medians. And the Green Stormwater Infrastructure Manual has information about how to create rain gardens in your medians so that we can be doing it as members of the public in our private spaces. So.
Oh, yeah. I want some medium kale. Corn? Yeah, let's put some corn in there. But yeah, for real though, I can't stop thinking about the canopy and how that should have more fruit, maybe less apricots. Why don't we do two more?
So I own a farm, not here in Santa Fe, but in Albuquerque. And I had worked for a long time, several years, with young farmers around the country. If you look at the stats, 70% of farmers have 1 to 2 other jobs that pay their mortgage, that oftentimes even support the operation of their farm. Farming is not a even sustainable career path as it is today. We have less subsidies. USDA has cut majority of subsidies that go directly to farmers, especially farmers of color. And we are entering a new world, right? We have the average median age of a farmer is 67, which is older than retirement age. That is the median age. So our farmers are getting too old. They're retiring. Land is transitioning out of farmland. We are in a crisis, and I don't think we are sounding the alarm enough. My question to the crowd, to you all, and just for us to think about, if we want farmers to farm, and if we want local food sheds, and if we want to get away from corporatized, large, monopolized agro businesses, right, that most of our food is imported from places like Mexico, Guatemala, Brazil, right? And then, like we said, we're exporting most of our food. But here in New Mexico, for example, actually most of that crop that we're producing is not even food crop. It's feed crop for animals. So there's multiple things happening, right? We're incentivizing the wrong kind of agriculture We are subsidizing agriculture, but those subsidies are not going to small family farms. They're not going to young farmers, and they're not going to support things like apprenticeship programs or subsidizing wages. And farmers cannot enter farming as young people because we cannot even afford to purchase land, right? The median age of somebody buying land these days, I think, is something like 38. When back in the 1980s, it was 24 was the median age, right? People are not able, under their mid-30s, are not able to purchase land, able to get loans. Until we're able to connect people to land to do the work and pay them the wages to do the work, we're going to continue in this crisis, and food is going to continue to be monopolized because only people who do it at large scale can actually make a profit. And they do so by cutting the wages, often hiring migrant farmers. So, it's a loaded question, I know. But I really care about this, and I've been working on federal food systems policies for those last 3.5 years. I was working with the National Young Farmers Coalition, and this is something, we're up in DC talking to our Congress people. And, a lot of them are hearing from the big agro businesses and not the small farmer. And so my question is, how do we address this on a local level and on a state level? It's not going to happen at the national level right now.
The fully loaded baked potato question.
Right. I agree. I think you answered your own question. It's not going to happen at the federal level. We are realizing in a lot of sectors, be it homelessness services, being mental health services, and in particular food access, we're going to have to figure out how to spend state funding, which we have a lot of reserves in the state of New Mexico. We don't spend out a ton of money. So subsidized things is something that I'm really trying to push as a local elected official, but it's going to take a little bit more support from the community.
Out of every dollar spent on food, only 20 cents goes to the food production.
So I think more direct sales for the farmer, using your facility to value add basil, for instance, into pesto, that's going to help a farmer with those margins.
We cut out the middlemen, middle people. We had one more question.
And just to hop on the tail end of that one for a second, I think one of the issues you're pointing to is that it's so hard to make money farming, and the mean income of a farmer is over $1 million because of corporatization. Some people at the top make so much money, and everyone at the bottom makes nothing. And we think of colonialism as something that happens in the past and in other places, but colonialism happens in your communities. It happens in your farmland. It happens in the places you live. Like, that is a form of colonialism. It's the idea that the resources and the money and the support that people in your community generate should go to pay someone who makes $1 billion in New York or LA or these other places. And keeping that money and keeping those supplies and keeping those resources in the communities that produce them. Like, anti-colonization is work that can begin at home and spread outwards. And I think that's really key to what you're talking about to some extent.
And I also just want to touch on the topic of land. We collectively own a ton of land in the city of Santa Fe, right? We have a whole northwest quadrant that is undeveloped that we could be developing. We have Midtown campus. We have these empty lots across from a wonderful food producer. Like, we own a ton of land collectively, and we need to put that land to work for us, as well as alternative business models where we can go and produce vertically, right?
Had the city thought about making it into luxury condos?
Car wash.
Yeah, another car wash.
I've also seen models in Albuquerque where they it's like an apprenticeship program where you actually get your piece of land and you learn, and I don't see that in Santa Fe yet. I don't see any organizations that's helping young farmers. Maybe y'all are involved?
That program you're talking about is called Grow the Growers.
Right, exactly.
But they don't get to own that land. It's leased to them. They get it for 3 years, and then there are strict terms of them using that. And it's only a 1/4 acre that they get. So they go through a program. They get paid, I think, a $15 minimum wage or something for the time that they give on that land, and then they have to. They're working on designing it better. My friend is now running the program and trying to restructure it, but grow the growers, doesn't give people land ownership. What I'm talking about is ownership, and what I'm talking about is real access. When you're only going to be on land for 3 years, you can't invest things like infrastructure. You can't necessarily build the soil health. That's a long-term strategy. And so what I think we really need to think about are like, what are strategies like community land trust, city-owned land, county-owned land that are giving long-term 10-year leases, for example, or finding a way to subdivide these parcels and if you have a trust on it, maybe there are ways to actually sell parts of those land, the surface rights, to farmers that they can own into perpetuity, right? There are ways to give more access to land, and I don't think we're really thinking about how city and governments can do this, that have the most land and eminent domain and the ability to decide what to do with that land. It's just it's a choice of what are we going to value.
And we have a state engineer who's paying people to fallow land because they're taking the water rights.
Yeah.
So it's all connected.
Okay. Well, we. You, sir.
Yeah, I guess I just on that note, on this discussion, I mean, I grew up here, grew up across the street from Her Martinez Park, live now near Ashbaugh, and it's been constant source of consternation seeing the sprinklers going, watering the streets, public park spaces, in a lot of instances, in a lot of these parks, only being used for dog walkers, really, and like the occasional family barbecue, which you have to pull a permit for anyway. Like, it's ridiculous. So it's like there's this water infrastructure already in place. At Ashbaugh, they water twice a day, well into the morning when the sun's evaporating half of it before it hits the ground. So talking about, how do we utilize some of this in the city public space? Yes, the kids need grass to play on, but like we could really be utilizing this. And I think probably in the Santa Fe Forward, that would be an opportunity to.
But continue to speak to us, because this is a great opportunity to talk about Ashbaugh and the amount of money that we're investing in redoing the sprinkler system and the irrigation system, which we have to contract out because we don't have internally. I mean, these systems are all connected. We are wasting a ridiculous amount of resources, not just money, but in this case, water as well, when we're not talking to folks like Reese or Zoe about how we're building these infrastructures. Yes, we don't want lawns. I will say that Rail Yard Park has beds that we could be growing food in that are empty right now because folks don't have the capacity potentially to build out some of these parks. But we do have a lot of local facilities where we could be doing some of this work. Thank you. And we will in the future. We're building.
Well, I think that's it. I think we're gonna end it right there. I'm not gonna put you guys through anymore. But thank you so much, all of you. I think we all got our plugs in. Is there any last words before we wrap this up?
I want to say something. I've been working on it for a long time. It's been a slow go. It's a little stalled right now, but I want to open a bodega in the commercial kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah, and it will be all of our members' products. You could get hot dogs. You could get bagels and schmears. So, coming down the pipe. So stick around for that.
Oh, Hodge is here.
Yeah, let me shout out Hodge real quick. In the back of the room is Hodge, who's Micey. Micey. Hodge is also distributing lettuce seedlings tonight. So if anybody wants to go home and immediately have a relationship with the earth, little seedlings are ready for you to nurture. Okay.
It's awesome.
In the shade.
That is so awesome. Yeah. Oh, Shark.
And just to drop down into one more thing for a second, not to end the night on like a down note, but this is my one song. I'm going to play it. Like I said, I was a journalist in Portland, Oregon in 2020. At this time, we had big wildfires that swept across all of Oregon. And the thing I saw then that really radicalized me and kind of changed the course of my whole life was people who a day before had stability, had housing, had food, had all these things, lost it in the space of 6 hours. We all feel like these problems are abstract. We all feel like these problems are distant. We all feel like, we can kind of talk about this as an academic pursuit. You can. Like, it's over. We need to engage with this as a real problem every day. And act like it is. Do everything you can. Spend the time. When you have the choice to spend an hour doing this and you decide to stay home, make a different choice. We have to now. And thank you all for being here tonight and show. I'm preaching to the choir. I probably don't need to tell anyone hear this, but I do it every time. So thank you all for listening to me about that, even though you probably all already know.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna wrap up. Do I have any more slides? Let's see. Oh yeah. I was supposed to put the soccer game on. Yeah. I'm sorry, football. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'll go back to our little QR code here, just in case anyone wants to go. And these little cans are dancing around. You can subscribe to 5-O-Matic here. Please stick around. And wait, now Hodge is here. I have the little spiel I was supposed to say when you were here, Hodge. Can I do it? Okay. So this show was a collab with Micey. Hodge, if anyone has had gotten to know Hodge as I have over the last few weeks, they know what a distinct pleasure that is. And so I just wanted to thank you, Hodge, for helping us put this little show together. And thank you for the seedlings in advance. Micey is a research lab working on holistic economic development. And so if you, getting back to that other part, if you're a business looking to grow or fundraise, talk to Hodge. And please, stick around. Let's all talk to each other. Let's keep talking about food. All right. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.